Is for Allah, nothing but Allah. Ba is the beginning of Bismillah. Ta is for taqwa, bewaring of Allah. And Tha is for thawab, a reward. Ja is for Jannah, the garden of paradise. Ha is for Hajj, the blessed pilgrimage. Kha is for Khatam, the seal of the prophethood given to the Prophet Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our program, Learn Arabic. In the last episodes, we did discuss a lot of alphabets, starting from A and ending with Da. And as everyone knows, if you'd like just to be perfect in learning Arabic language, I think that the first thing you have to do is just to learn how can you write and pronounce and read a lot of Arabic letters. I think that's today we're going to discuss more about the Arabic alphabets in the upcoming episodes. And as I said before, Arabic is not a difficult language, it's a very easy language. But you have to train yourself more and more. As I used to do in every episode, I have to introduce all my guests today. I'm joined today with Muhammad from England, Khalid from Ghana, Osama from Egypt, and Nabil from Pakistan. Welcome to my episode. So here is my first question. I would like just to start with today, which is, how many alphabets did we discuss so far? I think it's more than 10 alphabets, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you see such Arabic letters when it comes to pronunciation, when it comes to writing? Did you find any interesting points in writing and in pronouncing them?
Yeah, I think for me, the most difficult letter in alphabet is Ha.
Yep.
I think it does not exist in any language, and that is why I find some problems.
Right.
Just I'm keeping on reiterating and repeating it.
Ha.
Yeah, Ha.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Probably Ha could be among the most difficult letters. I'm not saying that this is the most difficult letter, by the way, because it depends from one learner to another learner.
Yeah.
But I would say it's probably could be difficult, especially for those who are just beginning in learning and taking some knowledge about the Arabic language.
Yeah.
How about the other letters? Did you find any similarity? Yep.
I'll find the Kha and Dal probably difficult, because Dal is very close to Dad, and when it have to pronounce Dan and Dan are kind of really difficult. I think Dal and Dad is difficult for me.
Exactly right.
I think in writing Arabic is kind of easy, similar to Urdu, so it's kind of easy for me.
In Urdu, right?
Yeah, so
okay.
writing is easy for me, I think.
Okay, I see. Nabil, you have a comment? Like
yeah,
that? Yep.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Arabic, all letters are very interesting.
Okay.
And I learned it, and I am very feel happy.
Okay.
But I found that is some problem.
Yep.
Problem.
Yeah.
So please shoot me.
That I tried dal, but
Did you find any difficulty in
yes,
writing
I
down?
couldn't
Oh, really? Okay.
pronounce it good.
Well, we're gonna today just to make a kind of quick review for what we did discuss so far,
Yeah.
but I think that could be just a little bit difficult writing. And I think that is, as I said before, that in Arabic language generally, you can find that there are classifications for some letters. Like, for example, if we can describe that now, you can find ba, ta, tha are very similar to each other. You can
Just in writing the shape.
Exactly.
Not in the way of pronunciation.
Exactly, Sam, and not in the way of pronouncing all of them,
Yeah.
right? When it comes, for example, to Jim, Ha, Kha, they are very similar in the writing system. When it comes to Dal and Zal, and today we're going to discuss more about Ra and They, something like that, you probably can find a lot of them. Let me just start with, can you please remind me about what is the first letter in Arabic? Here is it. It's a very simple way.
Yeah, it's
Here is it. So that's called, pronounced as Alif, just very straight line, which is described as Alif.
Alif.
And sometimes, as we discussed before, that sometimes we use Hamza, sometimes we don't use Hamza. Sam also did discuss stuff like that when he elaborates more about Hamza Qata and Hamza Wasl. I think that this is something that could be very advanced when it comes to the differentiations about Qata and Wasl and Tashkil and all of such elements. So this is about Alif. Let me just move on here to Ba in a very simple way. Just take it in a simple way. Don't try to complicate the situation. So when it comes to Ba, for example, here is it. Can you see that? We start with a small hook, straight line, and we make another hook here. We put just one dot. So this is Ba.
Ba.
This is the second letter in Arabic. Now let's move on here to the third one, which is Ta. Can you see that? Starting with a small hook, straight line. It's the same like Ba, but we just put two dots here above the letter. Yes. And please don't make any kind of argument about putting the dots under or below the letter is something that's wrong when it comes, for example, to Ta. Probably you can say, well, I would like just to put about 6 or 7 dots. Well, that is absolutely ridiculous,
Yes,
right? Okay, so let's move on here to Tha. Here is it. when it comes to sa, it's the same like ba and ta. So in sa we have 3 dots. Can you see that? So it's just one form here, which is here that. Okay, and then you just, it depends on how many dots do we have.
I think it's a sequence in Arabic language, which in ba, ta, then you have jim, han, kha.
Exactly.
You have dal and dal, ra and da, ain, ain.
Right.
It's a sequence.
Right.
Which you have similar letters. I think this is what makes Arabic, if you know how to write, make it easy to write.
Exactly right.
And it tells you, like, it's not like English, you know, every letter is difficult. Some people can't write S, some ones can't write R, some find it difficult in Z and Y, some else W, you write like this. But in Arabic, you have this sequence which makes it easier to write for you.
Right,
Yeah.
Osama, yep. You have a comment.
I think that this sequence is what makes the Arabic language is very difficult and interesting.
Yep.
We do not found this sequence in the English language, for example. We have
Right.
A, B, C, which are very different even in the writing.
Yep, yep.
But here in the writing system, we have a sequence, so this is some kind of music you can find in the language.
Right, I like that. Musical way.
Yeah,
right.
musical way.
But I think in English, well, what makes it easier once you understand, once you know, because even most of the words, most of the letters, I think, it's like A, most of like some letters like C and D, they're kind of similar to
Right.
to the capital letters.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's probably make it easy. But in some letters which are different, like for example, you can say E, R, which are slightly different from the actual position, and you can I think you can write R in 2 different types
Right.
when it's in a smaller case.
Right.
So it could be easy, it could be difficult, it could be slightly confusing as well.
Right.
But in Arabic, I think it's all basic and it's very simple.
Right, exactly. And another interesting point I found in Arabic that we have just one style in writing the standard way of Arabic language. I mean, in English, for example, you can find the capitalized letters. We have the small letters, something like that. We don't have something like that in Arabic. We don't have all of such jazz. It's just one approach, one way, which is applied in writing the Arabic letters. Now, here is that. So when it comes to ba and ta and tha, now let's move on here to the following one. Can you remind me, please, what is the following one after tha? We have here
Jim.
Jim.
Here is it. And again, here is Jim. We just make a very small hook, and then we are making a slant down here, and then we are making a half of the tail, or we're putting just one dot.
I think I would like to try Jim.
Yeah,
also.
please go ahead, Mohammed. Yeah, I would be very glad to see something like that.
Yeah.
That's about Jim, actually, and when it comes to Ha and Ha, it would be the same.
Yeah.
Here is that. So for Ha, we are making a very small hook, going down, making another half circle here is that, without any dot. And then let me move on here to Ha, here is that in this way. And then, again, going down and then making, but just put one dot here. Can you see that?
I think you can say like, to remind yourself in a funny way.
Exactly
That
right.
Jim and Kha is hungry, but Ha is not hungry. So you don't need no dots.
Well, that could be right. So please, if you can write all of the 3 letters again, please, can you do that in your scratch papers, please? Go ahead. I would write them again. Here is it. So this is for Jim. Again, this is for Ha. And this is for Ha. Here is it. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, please show me. Exactly, here is that. Can you see that? Well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, here is the point. You can find classifications for ba, ta, tha. You can find classifications for jim, ha, kha, and it depends on the way you write and depends on the shape. And here for jim and ha and kha, we have just, it's called independent shapes. I mean, when it comes, for example, for writing such letters, when it comes inside the words, like in initial position or in the final positions. So you can find, for example, jim here, we don't use that kind of tails. Here is that. We remove that. Can you see that? Like, for example...
It's still going through the same sequence.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Same sequence.
Right,
sequence, yeah.
exactly. So let me just write one word here. Like, for example, when it comes to the word camel in English, so in Arabic we write gamal. Here is that. Making mim and lam. And here is jam. Can you see that? So the form here, when it comes combined with the following one, probably with the previous one, when it comes to the initial, in the medial, in the final position, we have just... Please pay your attention here to that form. Okay, here is that. So that is ja.
Yes.
So it's the same also for ha and kha. Can you please give me an example for ha and kha?
You can write Hajj.
Hajj, right, exactly.
And,
So I would write that in this way. So here is that. Actually, this is a very interesting word because we have 2 words are very close to each other.
Close to each other, yeah.
Here is that. Okay, so we have ha in this way. And then we have hajj. Here is it. Okay. So what we are making here, if you just would like to separate the letters. You can find here we have ha in this way, and then we have ja in this way.
It's also making it very easy for you to write and spell, because you just, if say for example, as a funny way, you just add in the ha halfway and then jim full way. It's very easy. You just add in them,
And by the way, Muhammad, that is also happening for ha and kha, and for the three letters when they comes in the final positions, they take the same form.
It's the same sequence,
Exactly.
The same sequence, small or you come initial position or the middle position and last position.
Right. So here is it. So we have here ha and we have ja, and we are combining them together with a very, very short line. Here is it. Can you see that? So that is for, do you have any comments?
No.
Okay, so here is it for jim and ha and kha. What's the following letter after ha? Okay.
We have dal.
Dal, right. I think that Nabil has a comment about dal.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's finding it very difficult for him.
Difficult in writing, Nabil, right? Is that correct? Did you find any difficulty in writing dal?
No, not in writing.
Okay.
But dal in pronunciation.
Oh my God. Okay, well, here is it. Well, let me just start with dal. And in dal, when it comes here, we are making a slanted line here.
I think this difficult problem also.
Go ahead.
Do exist not with the native, also with the native speakers will find it.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, there is overlap and confusion between da and da.
Right.
Okay.
Like what?
Even when it comes, for example, I find some dialects in Upper Egyptian that say...
I know, because you are from Upper Egypt, that's why you're going to give us today a bunch of Upper Egyptian examples.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, please.
For example, there is also this confusion occurs in some words. For example, may say هذا.
هذا, right.
Yeah. They say, for example, we have also a man or rajul. Or da.
Da, right.
Okay, such examples.
Okay,
I find that.
Do you find any confusing when, especially in Upper Egypt, for example, as you talk now, when it comes to the dialects, did you find any confusing?
No, there is not confused. I think that this overlap and confusion comes when we read or recite the Evergreen Quran.
I see.
Okay, there is confusion, for example, between sa and da. Okay. Between...
I'm sorry, Simon, for interruption, but we're going to have a break and we'll be right back. My dear viewers, stay tuned. We will be right back.
Those who love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for those who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, for those who want to enter the Jannah, the paradise that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created for the believers. And that's why we need to learn and we need to get to know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us, so that we submit ourselves to the orders of Allah. This is knowledge that we need to learn. Why we're spending more time to look into the verses and to the meanings of the verses in depth, so that we can get to learn from it what we need ourselves to be steadfast, to be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to ponder over the meanings of the miraculous words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the second part of our program, Learn Arabic. I think that Osama was talking about something, the confusion between dal and zal, especially in some parts in Egypt. I think Osama, something like that. You were talking about confusion that's happening sometimes between two letters, for example, in Arabic. Please tell us.
For example, we have there's such overlap between, for example, hamza and qa.
Yeah.
For example, we say qatala maybe katala. Okay. Such overlap and confusion does not exist in Upper Egypt only. But also, we may see this confusion and overlap when reading the Evergreen Quran. For example, it is prohibited, and myself, it is not acceptable to say ga'a, or the variation here that the Koreans are pronouncing. Okay?
Right.
And these also problems and differences we may see these problems differences also in the Arab Peninsula or the Arab Gulf world.
Yeah.
Okay, in Gulf countries.
Yeah.
Because families in Upper Egypt, Ahmed, have descendants and have their origin in the Gulf area. Okay, and that is why you may find some similarities between them. That there's, for example, G or Jim is pronounced like in such a way in Saudi Arabia and other states. I think Oman.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, when it comes to Oman, I think that maybe you can tell us more about Oman.
Yes, the persons they are living in desert.
Yep.
And, in fact, in the Arabic language, the persons are living in desert,
Yep.
and the tribes, they have original Arabic.
Yeah, original.
Yeah.
I see. Well.
Perhaps you know that sometime in Arabic, if you read the history of Arab,
Okay.
that some poets go in the desert and learn Arabic there and
Yep.
live there with them.
Okay.
Because of that, they know Arabic good.
Okay. Did you find any difference in Arabic between?
Yeah,
Okay.
there is like that. Our brother Osama is talking about the qaf,
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
but they pronounce it gaf.
Gulf. Yeah,
Yeah.
another.
They changed the letter
Yes.
completely.
That is
Yes.
so. I think when I'm going to Oman, I have to pick up a translator with me. even I speak the Arabic.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, now let's move on here. We were talking just about Jim, Ha, Ha, and Dal and Dal. I think when it comes to Dal, it's very easy because even when you write the alphabet, I think that would be very easy just to make two important movements in your writing. The first one is just to make a kind of a slanted line here in this way, and then you are making another line here in a very straight line. Can you see that? That's simply, that's Dal, and as you see, this consonant is pronounced like a frontal in English, like in dentist. This probably could be very close to the D letter in English language. This letter Da doesn't connect to any letter that follows it, but it could be connected with the previous letters. That's another interesting point here. Now, when it comes for example, we did discuss Ba, Ta, Tha, Jim, Ha, Ha, and all of such letters actually are combined. When it comes to the initial position, they are combined, they are connected. When it comes in the medial position, also connected with the previous and with the following one. When it comes in the final position, sometimes they are connected. But for Dal specifically, we didn't have any connection for Dal with the following one, but probably could be connected with the previous one. Yep.
Yes.
So that's about Dal. Now let's move on here about how can we write it. When you write it, we write this letter by beginning above the line, as I said now, and we slant down. It looks like when we draw an angle, but less than 90 degrees. That's correct. I mean, if you can just make that in this way, because the same I still remember in the last time he was talking about curved lines, stuff like that. Could be very close to C or stuff like that. But here is that. All you have to do just to make a line here slanted, and that is probably could be. Can you see such angle? Stuff like that. I don't want to talk more about engineering or stuff like this. Okay. Now let's move on here. When it comes Dal in initial position, I think it comes always disconnected. In the middle position, sometimes it comes connected, and sometimes it comes disconnected, and in the final position is always connected. And as I said before, when you write Dal in initial position, we start from the top to the bottom here in this way. Can you see that?
Yeah.
But when it comes in the medial and final position, generally we start from the top to the upside. Here is that in this way. Like for example, let me just write the word here, Jad. Here is this is Jam. And this is that. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Here is that. That is my focus on Dal. Right, okay. And I said before again that we have different shapes for Dal when it comes in initial position. We have the example dollar, which means in Arabic dollar, gadid, warda, and jadan. I think that we discussed all of such words. Now the ninth letter, which is Dal, this consonant is pronounced like frontal than English, like in other, but not in three. And I think that's very interesting because in English, as we said before, that you can find probably TH pronounced tha or the, but in Arabic we don't have that. We just have one letter for one pronunciation.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, when it comes to writing such alphabet, we write this letter by beginning above the line, slant down. I think that is the same form for writing Dal.
Yeah.
Here is that, in this way.
The difference is that we put a point. Or
Exactly, Ustaz. I think
dot.
Exactly right. And here is the point. We put just one dot above the letter, but not below it. Muhammad, you have any comment?
I think Zal could be slightly difficult to pronounce when you start learning Arabic straight, because it's the way you pronounce it from the top of your tongue to close to your teeth. And that I think could be difficult, especially when you're reciting it fluently. When you recite it fluently, some people do recite slowly. You know, they recite Arab. When they go fluently, instead of Zal, they will say Zal. So I think that's one of the problems. Again, native speakers and people who start learning new. And I've seen some people when they recite Ba, they will recite Fa, and instead of Ba, they're going to recite native speakers. And I've seen it in one of the biggest mosques recently in a house, where they recite the Quran just before the Friday prayer, and instead of saying Ba, they recite Fa, and instead of Zal, they recite Zal.
Yeah, it has a confusion overlap between Zal, which we pronounce it by putting our tongue between the two lips or the teeth, okay, and the Dal. And this also, this difficulty also do exist here in Egypt. Even in Upper Egypt, we do have this. We have problem also pronouncing Dal, and leads to confusion. But I think that these difficulties are vanished when it comes to Saudi Arabia, for example, because they are using classical Arabic, and that is why it is easy for them to use the.
Okay, I see.
They say the. Okay,
I see.
Hada. They say, but when I say da, we are saying da.
Right. Does it make any difference in meaning, Usama, when it comes to such confusion?
Oh, we are changing changing the meaning of the word totally.
Okay.
I think when you pronounce hada, I mean hada could be, at least you can say it sounds as a word. When you say haga, I mean this is just totally not a word in Arabic. It's difficult to translate. How will you translate? For example, someone comes Saudi, how will you translate haga? You can translate da, but not ga.
Right. I think the Nabil has a comment here. Yep.
In fact, every area has its natural effects on the language.
Yes.
Like that, as we're talking about the second of the countings of 1 and 2.
Right.
Awal, Wahad and Thani. At that time, we're talking about Thani. Some persons pronounce it Tani.
Tani, yeah.
Right.
It's
It's also an effect. It is no problem. In fact, the many people is living, and at the time they have relation between about talking and about in bazaar and in house and in relation and in ceremonies. At the time they in the meeting they change these words.
I see.
It is no problem. It
But
is
I
effect
think this
of
is-
natural effect.
This is a slang variation, I think.
Yeah.
And these difficulties or these variations of pronunciation, it may not constitute a huge problem, or example, in real life, in conversing between or communication between people and each other.
Yep.
But when it comes to reading or reciting the ever-grace Quran, we are going from one word to another meaning, and you are changing the meaning. And this is not the way that we are prescribed, for example, to read and recite the ever-grace Quran.
I see.
I think as Nabil mentioned, Tani, when I came new to Egypt, I had this similar problem because I've learned the counting from the classical Arabic. So it's 2 and Talata, it's 9 Talata. So when I went to the text here and said Talatin, I said, what's this? So I was really confused. I was really, what it actually means.
Right.
Then so I have to ask someone else, the native speaker. They said it's 30, it's 13, but they pronounce it differently.
I think that Khalid also does have a comment. Please go ahead, Khalid.
Yeah, I think also about they say Itnain and Ithnain.
Yeah,
A lot
right.
of people get
Exactly. Can you see that? Ithnain and Ithnan.
Isnan, yeah.
Right. And even we say in Egypt, Yawm al-Ithnain, you say Ithnin.
Ithnain, yeah.
Right. Can you see that? So we are changing the word to be, rather than Monday, we say
Instead of Juma, it's Guma.
Right, exactly. Can you see that? I think that's probably could be related to the slang variations, as Sama said now. But the point that I'm still actually trying to find a way to answer such a question, does such a slang variation probably influence the meaning?
It's also some kind of the culture and the community. I think
Exactly,
it also
right.
defines what your culture is. How do you pronounce different words? I mean, we all come the same. You know, in every level, even English. If you come from Scotland and Wales, it's difficult for someone from England, from London, to understand your English.
Exactly.
Because it's a different culture and different place and different community. So you speak different English. Although the words are same, It's just the pronunciation is so different that it's going to be difficult to understand. So
Right.
it's same with Arabic and same with every language.
Right. Okay. Now I think that let's now get back again to that, because actually that could be very close to Dan, even if they are very similar when it comes in the writing place. Here is that, or when it comes actually in the writing form. So when it comes to initial position, always disconnected like that. When it comes in the immediate position, I think that is connected also like bidra. Sometimes it comes connected like khudh, which means take, and we have different shapes for writing the letter dal. I think that that's probably could be the final thing before we move on in the upcoming episodes about ra and then they. I think we can discuss more about that. My dear viewers, if you have any comment or any question about such alphabets, please send me email to brave, brave107@yahoo.com. Thank you for joining us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
A is for Allah, nothing but Allah. Ba is the beginning of Bismillah. Ta is for taqwa, bewaring of Allah. And Tha is for Tawwab, a reward. Ja is for Jannah, the garden of paradise. Ha is for Hajj, the blessed pilgrimage. Kha is for Khatam, the seal of the prophethood given to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.